In 4.2, we're going to multiply and divide fractions. So the first is I'm going to multiply. So the first one I'm going to do, 1 over 12 times 4 over 7. So we can do this in two ways. When we're multiplying fractions, we're just multiplying the numerators to each other and the denominators to each other and then reducing. So I'm going to do it that way first. 1 times 4 is 4. 12 times 7 is 84. And now we can reduce by dividing both the 4 and the 84 by 4. And we'll get 1 over 21. Now to save time, and especially for this class, since we can't use calculators on the test, we can reduce even before we do our multiplying. So I'm going to do this again, 1 over 12 times 4 over 7. But now, what we can do is compare all of the numerators to all the denominators, and if we can reduce any of them with each other, like here, we can reduce the 4 and the 12 by dividing both by 4. So divide this by 4 and this by 4. When we do that, we're going to actually now have 1 over 3 times 1 over 7. And now when we multiply, 1 times 1 is 1, 3 times 7 is 21, and we have our answer. A lot of times it's easier to reduce before we multiply, especially when we're going to have bigger numbers. So let's just look at kind of what we did here. Let's say we have 3 over 8 times 8 over 3. So here we have 3 on top and 3 on bottom. So 3 divided by 3 is 1. We have 8 on top and 8 on bottom. 8 divided by 8 is 1. So all we're left with is 1. So see, this makes it a lot easier. We have fewer steps to do. Then let's say we have, though, 4 over 7 times 3 over 5. Here, there's nothing to reduce. The 4 won't go in. The 4 doesn't have anything in common with the 5 or the 7, and neither does the 3. So we'll just go 4 times 3 is 12. 7 times 5 is 35, and that's as far as we can go there. So now let's see what happens if we have 3 numbers. Say we have, or 3 fractions. 11 over 7 times 1 over 5 times 11 over 3. Here again, there's nothing to simplify, because here's on the top numerators, we have 11s and 1s, and 1 will go into everything, but we can't really do anything to change. So we're just going to multiply everything straight across. 11 times 1 times 11 is 121 over 7 times 5 times 3 is 105. 7 times 5 is 35, times 3 is 105. So that's what we can do there. Next, let's say we have 12 over 25 times 5 over 3. So here we can simplify. I'm going to do this with a slightly different notation. Use this color. So the 5 and the 25 can both be divided by 5. So 25 or 5 divided by 5 becomes 1. 25 divided by 5 becomes 5. And then 3 and 12 can both be divided by 3. So 3 divided by 3 is 1. 12 divided by 3 is 4. So now we have 4 times 1, which is 4, over 5 times 1, which is 5. So our answer here would be 4 over 5. Next, let's do something with some negative numbers. Say we have negative 6 over 7 times negative 7 over 9. So first off, the 7 and the 7 can cancel, because we have a 7 on top, 7 on bottom. And then also the 6 and the 9 can both be divisible by 3. So the 6 will become a 2, the 9 will become a 3. And now for our answer, we have a 2 times a 1, which is 2. 1 times 3, which is 3. Negative times negative becomes positive. So our answer here will be 2 over 3. Okay, so let's say that we're squaring something. Say we have negative 3 over 5, the whole thing squared. All right, so remember, when we're squaring, we're just multiplying something by itself. So we can do this one of two ways. So we can change this to be negative 3 over 5 times negative 3 over 5. Negative times negative is positive. 3 times 3 is 9. 5 times 5 is 25. Or we could just square everything here. So the negative squared is just going to be positive. 3 squared is 9 over 5 squared is 25. It doesn't matter how you look at this one. You're going to get the same answer as long as you do it correctly. So the next type of thing that you're going to see here are some triangles where you're finding the area. So an area equals 1/2 times b times h. B is base, h is height. So for this triangle, a right triangle, say that the height is 4 and the base is 9. We're going to say area equals 1/2 times 4 times 9. And it doesn't matter what order you do this in. 1/2 times 4 is 2, times 9 is 30, or times 9 is 18, or 4 times 9 is 36, divided by 2 times 1/2 is 18. However you want to do that. The next type of triangle you might have will be like this, where it gives you that the height is 2 and the base is 10. So 1/2 times 2 times 10, and that's going to equal 10. 1/2 times 2 is 1, times 10 is 10. You can also say 2 divided by 2 is 1 times 10, or 2 times 10 is 20, times 1/2 is 10. Okay, so that is when we are multiplying. So to divide, what we're going to do is take the reciprocal of the second one, and the reciprocal just means that you flip the fraction. So just to start with, if we have 1 over 5 and we were to flip that, it would become 5 over 1, or 5. If we had 3, it would go to 1 over 3, because remember, a whole number, its fraction is just the number over 1. So the reciprocal of a whole number is just 1 over that number. If we have the fraction 4 over 5, the reciprocal is 5 over 4, because all we did was flip it. So now, looking at dividing fractions, let's say that we have 3 over 8 divided by 21 over 8. So the first thing we're going to do is flip the second one and turn this into a multiplication. So this now is going to become 3 over 8, and then times, flip the second one, 8 over 21. Now we can do like we did before. We have an 8 divided by 8, so that's just going to be 1. And we can divide the 3 and the 21 both by 3. So this will become a 1. This will become a 7. And we're going to have 1 times 1 is 1 over 1 times 1 is 7. Now be careful on something like that. Let's say that we had 3 over 8 divided by 8 over 21. Here, we don't want to simplify anything until we turn it into a multiplication. So this first has to be 3 over 8 times 21 over 8. And now we can't simplify anything, so we're going to get 63 over 64. Remember, flip the second one before you cancel anything. You can only cancel when you are like this, when you are multiplying. So let's do a few more examples. Let's say we have 6 over 7 divided by negative 4 over 9. So we're going to flip the second one, and we're going to have 6 over 7 times negative 9 over 4. So now we can simplify the 6 and the 4 by dividing both of them by 2. This will become a 2, this will become a 3. And we have a positive times a negative, so our answer is going to be negative. 3 times 9 is 27 over 7 times 2 is 14. So, next one, let's say we start with the same. We have a 6 over 7 divided by 4 over 7. When we flip the second one, we're going to have 6 over 7 times 7 over 4. So now the 7s will both be divisible by 7. So we'll have a 1 and a 1. And divide the 4 and the 6 both by 2. So we'll have a 2 and a 3. So we'll have 3 times 1 is 3. 1 times 2 is 2. So let's see what happens when we have some whole numbers and a fraction. So say we have 12 divided by 3 over 8. So we still want to flip the second one, but turn the 12 into a 12 over 1. So we have a 12 over 1 times 8 over 3. Now, the 3 and the 12 can simplify to get a 1 and a 4. And now we'll have a 4 times 8, which is 32 over 1, which just equals 32. Next, let's say that we have a fraction, 5 over 8, divided by 3. So, again, we need to flip the second one, do the reciprocal. So the reciprocal of a whole number is 1 over that number. So this becomes 5 over 8 times 1 over 3. There's nothing that we can simplify, so 5 times 1 is 5. 8 times 3 is 24, so 5 over 24. Now let's look at some numbers with zeros. Say we have 0 divided by 25 over 6. Remember, 0 divided by anything just equals 0. If you want to spend the time, you could say 0 times 6 over 25, and 0 times anything is 0. You don't need to do that though. Also, if we have 12 over 7 divided by 0, anything divided by 0 does not exist or undefined. So if 0 is what you're dividing something by, you're just going to get undefined. Okay, so next, let's do ones that have some variables also. Say we have 5x to the 3 over 6 divided by 10x. So we need to flip this. It'll be 1 over 10x. So we're going to have 5x to the 3 over 6 times 1 over 10x. And now I'm going to simplify the numbers first. So 5 and 10 are both divisible by 5. So this will become a 1. This will become a 2. And I'm going to rewrite this like I did in the previous section, where I have this to be 3x's. But we have 1 times 1 is just 1. So we have x, x, x on top. 6 times 2 is 12, and we have 1x. Okay, so now we're going to divide the x's that we can. So x divided by x is 1. So what we're left with is x squared on top and 12 on bottom. Okay, so next, let's say that we have 5x over 6 divided by 13 over 18. So the first thing I need to do is flip the second one. 5x over 6 times 18 over 13. And we can simplify the 6 and the 18 by dividing both by 6. We're going to get 1 and 3. And so 5x times 3 is 15x over 1 times 13 is 13. Next, let's do one that has 3 numbers that we're dividing. 5 over 4 divided by 9 over 5 divided by 5 over 2. So here we can just flip. I'm going to do it in 2 steps. I'm going to first flip the first one. 5 over 4 times 5 over 9 divided by 5 over 2. And then I'm going to multiply the first 2. So I'm going to have 25 over 36 divided by 5 over 2. And then I'm going to flip the second one. So I'm going to have 25 over 36 times 2 over 5. And now I can simplify and divide both of these by 5. So this becomes a 1 and a 5. Divide both of these by a 2. This becomes a 1 and an 18. So I'm going to have 5 times 1 is 5. 18 times 1 is 18. I could have also done these just in one step, and I'll show you that now. Where I have 5 over 4 divided by 9 over 5 divided by 5 over 2. I'm going to flip both of the second ones. So 5 over 4 times 5 over 9 times 2 over 5. And now I can simplify some of these. I have a 5 and a 5. Those will be divided and get 1. And I have a 2 and a 4. This will become a 1. This will become a 2. So now I have 5 times 1 times 1 is 5 over 2 times 9 is 18 times 1 is 18. And I would get the same answer. The next question is going to be a word problem that can be kind of confusing. So what it is each guest eats 3/4 of a pound. I'm going to write this so that it's legible. Okay, so each guest eats 3/4 of a pound of chocolate. How many guests will eat 9 pounds? So, what this is 1 guest per 3/4 pound, and it's times 1 pound. But since we're dividing, we have a total of 9 pounds. So we're going to go 9 divided by 3/4. So now this becomes 9 over 1 times 4 over 3. The 3 and the 9 will divide. This will become a 1. This will become a 3. So now we have 3 times 4 is 12 over 1 times 1, which is just 1. So our answer here will be 12. So on these questions, you're going to divide the pounds of chocolate by what each person is going to eat. And that is it for section 4.2.